My girlfriend wanted full independence with all the perks of a relationship. When I asked where she'd been till midnight, she snapped, "You're not my dad." I agreed and stopped asking, cooking, waiting. I lived my life. She noticed only when I stopped coming home. My name is Mark Volkov. I'm 28 years old, living in Moscow, working as a commercial electrician. Good money, steady hours, own my car outright. For 3 years, I'd been with Natalia, 26. We met at a mutual friend's birthday party, hit it off immediately, and moved in together after about 18 months. The apartment was decent, a 2-bedroom in a good neighborhood. Rent split down the middle, everything fair and square. I paid slightly more on bills since I earned a bit more, but she contributed her share. We had our rituals, our inside jokes, our weekend traditions. I thought we were solid. The change began about 6 months ago. Natalia works in social media marketing for some startup. The company's always doing team-building events, happy hours, client dinners. At first I didn't think much of it. Professional networking is important, and I'm not some controlling guy who needs to know her every move. But then the communication just stopped. I'd text asking when she'd be home for dinner, no response. I'd mention we'd planned Saturday together, and she'd casually drop Friday night that she'd committed to something else. When I'd ask about her plans, I'd get vague answers like, just hanging with work people, or meeting up with friends. The breaking point came on a Tuesday evening. I got home around 6. Natalia had mentioned that morning she'd be home by 7. I started making dinner, her favorite, pasta carbonara with garlic bread. Set the table, lit some candles, the whole thing. Figured we could use a nice quiet evening together since we'd barely seen each other all week. 7 rolled around. No Natalia, no text, no call. 8 o'clock. I texted, "Hey, dinner's ready. You on your way?" Radio silence. 9. "Everything okay? Getting worried?" Nothing. By 10:30, I'd eaten alone, cleaned up, and was watching TV with my dog, Bruno, a 3-year-old lab mix I'd had since before Natalia and I got together. Bruno's a good judge of character. He'd been getting less excited when Natalia came home lately. Should have paid attention to that. She finally walked in around midnight, laughing at something on her phone. "Hey," she said, barely glancing up. "Where were you? I made dinner hours ago." She looked at me like I'd grown a second head. "I was out." "Out where? I texted you like 5 times. That's when she said it. The line that changed everything. "I don't need to tell you where I'm going. You're not my dad." I just stared at her. 3 years together, living under the same roof, sharing bills and responsibilities, and she's hitting me with teenage rebellion energy. "You're right," I said calmly. "I'm not your dad. I'm your boyfriend who made dinner and waited 4 hours wondering if you were dead in a ditch somewhere." "Oh my God, you're being so dramatic. I was just hanging out. I don't need to check in with you like I'm on house arrest." "Checking in isn't house arrest, Natalia. It's basic courtesy when you live with someone." She rolled her eyes. "You're being controlling. My mom warned me about guys like you." Guys like me. The ones who cook dinner and care if their girlfriend is safe. Real monsters, apparently. I didn't fight it. Just went to bed while she stayed up scrolling through her phone, occasionally giggling at messages. The next few weeks were more of the same. She'd leave without saying where she was going, stay out until all hours, and treat any question like I was interrogating her. Meanwhile, I was still paying more than my share of bills, handling most of the housework, and trying to maintain what felt like a one-sided relationship. My best friend David noticed the change when he came by to watch football one Sunday. "Where's Natalia?" he asked, grabbing a beer from the fridge. "No idea. She left this morning. Didn't say where she was going." David raised an eyebrow. "Dude, that's weird. Apparently asking makes me controlling." "Controlling? Bro, my girlfriend texts me when she stops for gas. That's not controlling. That's being in a relationship." Bruno was sitting at my feet, and David reached down to scratch his ears. "At least you've got this good boy. Dogs don't play mind games." Something clicked in my brain during that conversation. I was putting in all the effort, emotional, financial, domestic, while Natalia was acting like a single woman with a live-in roommate who occasionally got mad at her. The final straw came 2 weeks later, Friday night. I had plans with the guys' monthly poker game at David's place. I'd mentioned it to Natalia multiple times throughout the week. She'd said, "That's fine," and talked about having a quiet night at home. Friday afternoon, I confirmed via text, "Poker tonight at David's. Should be home by midnight." Her response, "K." Showed up at David's around 7. We played cards, ate pizza, talked about work and sports and normal friend stuff. Good low-key evening. I was home by 11:30, earlier than expected. Walked into the apartment to find absolute chaos. Natalia had thrown a party. And I don't mean a small gathering. I mean a full-blown rager with at least 30 people crammed into our 2-bedroom apartment. Music blasting. People I'd never seen before drinking on our couch. Someone had spilled something red all over the carpet. Bruno was locked in our bedroom barking anxiously. I could hear him over the music. I found Natalia in the kitchen wearing a dress I'd never seen, laughing with some guy who had his hand on her lower back. "Natalia!" I had to yell over the music. "What is this?" She turned, clearly several drinks in. "Oh, hey, you're home early." "It's midnight. I said I'd be home by midnight. Why are there 30 random people in our apartment?" The guy next to her, tall, wearing a designer shirt that probably cost more than my car payment, smirked. "Relax, man. It's just a party." "Who are you?" I asked. "This is Kirill," Natalia said, giggling.
"He's from my office." Kirill. Of course his name was Kirill. "Natalia, can we talk, privately?" She sighed dramatically, like I was ruining her fun. Fine. We went out to the hallway. I could still hear the music thumping through the walls. My neighbors were going to hate me. "You need to shut this down," I said. "Now." "Why?" "Everyone's having a good time." "Because you didn't tell me you were having a party. You said you were having a quiet night at home." "I don't need your permission to have friends over. This is my apartment, too." "Friends. I don't recognize half these people. And you locked Bruno in the bedroom. He was being annoying." Something in me just shut off, like a circuit breaker flipping. I was done. "You know what? You're absolutely right. This is your apartment, too. Do whatever you want." Her eyes lit up like she'd won. "Really? Really? I'm done trying to have adult conversations with someone who acts like a teenager." I went back inside, unlocked the bedroom door so Bruno could come out, and we left. Just walked out of my own apartment at midnight because my girlfriend had decided common courtesy was optional. I crashed at David's that night. He took one look at my face and just handed me a blanket for the couch. "What happened?" I told him everything. The party, the locked dog, Kirill with his hand on Natalia's back. "Dude," David said slowly, "that's messed up. Like, really messed up." "I know. What are you going to do?" "Honestly, nothing. She wants to be independent. She can be independent." Something changed in me that night. I wasn't angry, wasn't hurt. I was just done. Done trying to make someone care who clearly didn't. Done being treated like an inconvenience in my own relationship. The next morning, I went back to the apartment around 10. The party debris was everywhere, cups on every surface, sticky spots on the floor. The place smelled like stale drinks and too many people.
Natalia was passed out on the couch, still in that dress. I didn't wake her, just took Bruno for a long walk, grabbed my work clothes, and left again. Over the next few days, I implemented what I called the independence plan. Natalia wanted to live like she was single. Fine, I'd treat her exactly like a roommate. Nothing more, nothing less. Here's what changed. 1. Stopped cooking for 2. Made my own meals, ate them, cleaned only my dishes. 2. Stopped asking where she was going. She'd walk out the door. I'd just say, "See you later," without looking up. 3. Stopped initiating any plans. If she wanted to do something together, she'd have to be the one to suggest it. 4. Stopped caring about her schedule entirely. She'd text asking if I'd be home for dinner. I'd respond with maybe or not sure. 5. Started making my own plans. Lots of them. The gym became my second home. I'd go after work, spend 2 hours there, shower at the gym, and come home whenever I felt like it. Started going out more with David and the guys. Dinners, bar trivia nights, weekend fishing trips, stopped checking if Natalia needed me around, picked up a weekend side gig doing electrical work for friends and family. Good extra cash, and it kept me out of the apartment. Bruno came everywhere with me. He was happier too. More walks, more car rides, more attention from people who actually liked having him around. For the first week, Natalia barely noticed. She was still in her independent woman phase, coming and going at all hours, treating the apartment like a hotel. But then she started noticing the changes. Tuesday evening. She came home around 7 to find me heading out the door with Bruno. "Where are you going?" she asked. "Out." "Out where?" I almost laughed at the irony. "Just hanging with friends." "Which friends? When will you be back?" I gave her the same look she'd been giving me for weeks. "I don't need to tell you where I'm going. You're not my mom." Her mouth actually fell open. "That's not funny." "Wasn't trying to be funny. See you later." I went to David's, helped him install some new lighting in his garage, grabbed dinner at a sports bar, didn't get home until almost midnight. Natalia was sitting on the couch when I walked in, clearly waiting up. "Where were you?" she demanded. "I told you, out." "For 5 hours? Time flies when you're having fun. I'm going to hit the hay." Night. The pattern continued. Every time she tried to pin me down about my schedule, I'd give her the same vague non-answers she'd been giving me for months. I started noticing things I'd ignored before. How our apartment had slowly transformed into her space rather than our space. Her throw pillows everywhere. Her organizational system for everything. Her preferred brand of coffee that I didn't even like, but kept buying because it made her happy. I stopped buying that coffee. Started getting my own again. The little accommodations I'd been making for months. Keeping the TV volume low when she wanted to nap. Avoiding certain restaurants because she didn't like them. Scheduling my workouts around her preferred bathroom time. All of that stopped. Not out of spite, but because why was I accommodating someone who wasn't accommodating me? Tuesday evening. Natalia came home to find me rearranging the living room. I'd moved her decorative pillows to the bedroom and brought back my gaming setup that she'd convinced me to put in storage because it didn't match the aesthetic. "What are you doing?" she asked, staring at the TV and console now prominently displayed. "Making myself at home. This is my apartment too, remember? But we agreed on the living room layout." "You decided on the living room layout. I just went along with it because I thought that's what you did in relationships. Turns out I was wrong." She looked like she wanted to argue but couldn't find the angle. I'd used her exact logic against her, and she knew it. Wednesday. I stopped at the grocery store after work and bought only food I liked. No more of her organic overpriced snacks. No more almond milk that tasted like cardboard. No more of that expensive Greek yogurt she loved. Just my normal staples, regular milk, actual cheese, the cereal I'd stopped buying because she said it was too sugary. When she went to make her morning smoothie Thursday and found regular milk instead of almond milk, I could hear her frustrated sigh from the bedroom. "Where's my almond milk?" she called out. "Didn't buy it." "Why not?" "Wasn't on my shopping list. But you know I use it every morning." I walked into the kitchen, grabbed my coffee. "Do I? Because you know I make dinner most nights and you stop coming home for it. Funny how that works." Friday night. She came home around 6:30, unusually early for her with takeout. "I got us Thai food," she announced, holding up the bags. "Your favorite." "Cool. I already ate, though. And I'm heading out in like 10 minutes. "Out again? Where?" "Poker night at David's." "You were just there last week." "Yeah, we play every Friday now. Didn't I mention that?" I hadn't mentioned it, obviously. The same way she hadn't mentioned about 90% of her plans for the past few months. "But I got food for both of us," she said, her voice getting that edge to it. "Sorry, I didn't know you were planning that. Maybe text me next time." I grabbed Bruno's leash and headed for the door. He was already excited, knew the routine by now. Friday meant poker night, which meant he got to hang out with David's dog Rocky, a friendly mutt who was great with other dogs. Wait, what am I supposed to do with all this food? Eat it? Save it? "I don't know, Natalia. You're an independent woman. Figure it out." I could feel her staring daggers at my back as I left, but I didn't turn around. Bruno and I got in the truck, and as we pulled out of the parking lot, I felt that same sense of lightness I'd been feeling more and more lately. At David's place, the guys were already setting up. David, his brother Mike, and 2 co-workers from my job, Chris and Danny. Good guys, the kind who showed up when you needed help moving furniture or jump-starting your car at 3 in the morning. "Natalia finally noticed you have a life," David asked as he dealt the first hand. "Oh yeah, she's noticing." "My sister pulled the same thing with her ex," Mike said, tossing in his ante. "Treated him like furniture for 2 years, then freaked out when he started making plans without her. They didn't make it." "You think you guys will make it?" Chris asked. I looked at my cards. Pair of 7s. Nothing special. "Honestly? No idea. But I know I'm not going back to how it was." "Good for you, man," Danny said. "My wife tried that independence thing early on. I told her straight up, I'm not doing the guessing game. You're either in or you're out, but I'm not chasing you." "How'd that go?" "Been married 12 years. She shaped up real quick once she realized I wasn't bluffing. The game went on, and we talked about everything except my relationship drama. Sports, work, that new brewery that opened downtown, Chris's ongoing war with his HOA over his fence color. Normal guy stuff that didn't require emotional processing or deep analysis. I got home around 11:30 to find Natalia still awake, sitting on the couch with her laptop. "How was poker?" she asked, trying to sound casual. "Good. Won $140. "That's nice." She closed her laptop. "Can we talk?" "About what?" "About us. About what's happening." "What's happening is we're both doing our own thing. Isn't that what you wanted?" "Not like this." I sat down in the my recliner that she'd wanted to get rid of because it was ugly, and waited. "You're different," she said finally. "You're distant and cold, and it's like you don't even care anymore." "I'm exactly the same as I've always been. The difference is I stopped trying to force a connection with someone who wasn't interested. I am interested. Now you are. Funny how that timing works out." The poker night became a regular thing. So did the gym sessions, the side work, the weekend fishing trips. I was busier than I'd been in years, and honestly, I felt better than I had in months. I wasn't being spiteful or trying to hurt Natalia. I just stopped putting in effort where it wasn't appreciated, stopped being available by default, stopped making her my priority when I clearly wasn't hers. Bruno was thriving too. All the extra activity meant he was healthier, happier, better behaved. We started going to this dog park every Sunday morning, met some cool people there. One woman, Andrea, had a golden retriever that Bruno loved playing with. Andrea and I started chatting during the park visits. Nothing romantic, just friendly conversation about dogs and work and life. She was a nurse, single, had her life together. The kind of conversation where both people are actually present and interested, not checking their phones every 30 seconds. One Sunday, after Bruno and her dog had been playing for over an hour, Andrea suggested we grab coffee. "Sure," I said. "There's a place right around the corner." We walked over with the dogs, got coffee, sat outside talking about everything and nothing. It was easy, comfortable, drama-free. Everything my relationship with Natalia hadn't been in months. I got home around noon to find Natalia pacing the apartment. "Where have you been?" she demanded the second I walked in. "Dog park." "For 4 hours. We went for coffee after. Bruno made a friend." "Who's we?" "Me and this woman, Andrea. Her dog and Bruno get along great." Natalia's face went through several expressions in rapid succession. "You went for coffee with another woman?" "Yeah. It was nice. She's cool." "You can't just go have coffee with random women." I set Bruno's leash down, grabbed some water from the fridge. "Why not? We're just friends. You have plenty of guy friends, like Kirill from your office." "That's different." "How?" She couldn't answer that, just stood there sputtering while I headed to the bedroom to change clothes. Had plans to meet David for an afternoon at the shooting range. "Where are you going now?" she called after me. "Shooting range with David." "When will you be back?" "Not sure. Depends on how crowded it is." I could hear her throwing something soft against the wall as I left. Probably a pillow. She used to do that when she was frustrated. The next week, things escalated. Natalia started trying to reassert control over my schedule, asking me to stay home, wanting to make plans together, getting upset when I had other commitments. Wednesday evening. I came home from work to find her in the kitchen cooking. "I made dinner," she announced. "Chicken Alfredo, your favorite. The same dish I'd made for her months ago when this whole mess started. The irony wasn't lost on me. "That's nice, I already ate though. Got food with some guys from work." "You didn't tell me you had plans." "Didn't know I needed to. You want me to ask permission now?" Her face flushed. "That's not what I meant." "Then what did you mean?" She couldn't answer. I could see the gears turning in her head, trying to figure out how to say, "I want you to tell me your schedule," without sounding like the exact thing she'd accused me of months ago. I grabbed Bruno and we went for a walk. When we got back an hour later, the food was still sitting on the counter, untouched. Natalia was in the bedroom with the door closed. Thursday. She tried a different approach. Affection. Started texting me during the day with hearts and inside jokes. Asked if I wanted to watch a movie that night. Just us. Can't tonight. Helping David install some outlets in his basement. Can't that wait? Nope. Already committed. Friday. She suggested we go out for date night. "Where?" I asked. "That Italian place you like." "Can't." "Poker night." "Cancel it." "Why would I cancel plans I already made?" "Because I'm asking you to." I looked at her, really looked at her, and saw desperation. She was realizing what she'd taken for granted, but she still didn't understand why I wasn't jumping to fix it. "Natalia, you can't ignore someone for months, then demand their attention when it's convenient for you. That's not how relationships work. I didn't ignore you. You absolutely did. And when I asked for basic communication, you called me controlling. I needed space to figure things out. And I'm giving you all the space you need. You wanted independence. You got it." She started crying. Real tears. Not the manipulative kind. "I made a mistake, okay? I took you for granted. Can we please just talk about this?" "We are talking." "No, I mean really talk. About us. About fixing this." I sat down on the couch. Bruno immediately jumped up next to me. "Okay, talk." She wiped her eyes. "I miss you. I miss us. The way we used to be. The way we used to be was me cooking dinner while you stayed out until midnight without a word. Me trying to make plans while you treated me like an afterthought. That's not something to miss. I know I messed up. I was being selfish, but you've completely checked out. You're never here. You don't tell me anything. You're having coffee with other women. One woman, who's a friend, and yeah, I'm not around much. Kind of like how you weren't around much for months. Funny how that works. So this is revenge? You're punishing me. No, I'm living my life. Same thing you were doing. Difference is I'm not throwing parties in our apartment or locking your dog in the bedroom." She flinched at that. Good. She should feel bad about that. "What do you want from me?" she asked quietly. Honest question. I thought about it for a minute. "I want a partner, not a roommate who occasionally remembers I exist. I want someone who respects my time and communication. I want to feel like I matter to the person I'm with." "You matter to me." "Do I? Because for months I didn't feel that way at all." She was really crying now, and part of me felt bad, but a bigger part of me remembered all those nights wondering where she was, all those dinners eaten alone, all those times I felt like I was being unreasonable for wanting basic courtesy. "I'll do better," she said. "I promise. Just give me another chance." Actions, Natalia. Not words. I've heard promises before. I got up and headed to the bedroom. Had to pack for a weekend fishing trip with David and some guys from work. We were leaving first thing Saturday morning. "You're going away this weekend?" she asked, following me. "Yep." "But we were going to talk about this." "We did talk, and now I'm going fishing. Be back Sunday afternoon." Saturday morning, I loaded my gear in the truck at dawn. Natalia was standing in the doorway in her pajamas, looking miserable. "Please don't go," she said. "Plans were made weeks ago." "Plans with me should come first. They used to. Remember?" Bruno jumped in the truck. He loved fishing trips. We headed out, met David and the guys at a gas station off the highway, then convoyed up to this spot near the river that David's uncle had told him about. Supposed to be great for fishing this time of year. The drive took about 2 hours, and I spent most of it with the windows down, music playing, just existing in the moment. No stress about what Natalia was doing. No wondering if she was texting Kirill. No analyzing every word of our last conversation. Just me, my dog, and the open road. We got to the spot around 8, and it was perfect. Quiet inlet. Barely anyone around. Calm water. David's co-worker Greg had brought a cooler full of sandwiches and drinks. Mike had the extra tackle box. We set up on the shore and just existed. This is what life's about, Greg said, casting his line. No drama, no stress, just fishing and not caring if you catch anything. Amen to that, David agreed. My girlfriend wanted me to skip this and go to some brunch thing with her friends. I told her I had prior commitments. She mad? I asked. Probably, but she'll get over it. I'm allowed to have my own life. We fished for hours. I caught 3 decent-sized fish, threw 2 back, kept 1 for dinner. David caught a monster that he swore was at least 30 pounds, but was probably closer to 15. Mike caught nothing but had a great time anyway. Bruno ran around playing with sticks, swimming in the shallower parts, living his best dog life. Around noon we broke out the sandwiches and just sat there on the shore talking about nothing important. Your girl still giving you grief? Mike asked me between bites. She's trying to. I'm not engaging. Good. My ex-wife pulled similar stuff. Wanted freedom, but also wanted me to sit around waiting for her. When I stopped waiting, she couldn't handle it. What happened? Divorced her. Best decision I ever made. Met someone better. Been together 4 years now. Actually appreciates me. Greg chimed in. It's crazy how some people don't value what they have until it's gone. My sister did that with her first husband. Great guy. Treated her like gold, but she took him for granted. By the time she realized he was checking out, it was too late. They work it out? David asked. Nope. He remarried within a year. She's still single, still complaining that all men are trash. Can't see that maybe she was the problem. We fished until late afternoon, packed up around 4, and started the drive back. I felt completely recharged. Something about being outdoors, away from technology and relationship drama, just reset my brain. I got back Sunday around 3. Natalia's car wasn't in the parking lot. Figured she was out somewhere, which was fine. Bruno and I went inside, and I started unpacking my gear, cleaning my fishing rod, putting everything away properly. My phone had been on silent the whole weekend. When I finally checked it, there were 17 missed calls from Natalia and about 30 text messages. They ranged from casual, how's fishing, to increasingly frantic, where are you, to finally angry, you're being ridiculous. I didn't respond to any of them immediately, just put my phone on the charger and took Bruno for a walk around the complex. We ran into our neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, an elderly woman who always had treats for Bruno. Haven't seen you around much lately, she commented, giving Bruno a cookie. Been keeping busy. Good for you. That girlfriend of yours had some loud party here a few weeks ago. Woke up half the building. You weren't here. Yeah, I heard about that. Sorry for the noise. Wasn't your fault, dear, but maybe talk to her about it. Some of us old folks need our sleep. I promised I would, though I had no intention of talking to Natalia about anything she didn't want my input on. Around 5, my phone buzzed with a text from Natalia. Where are you? Home. Just got back from fishing. I'm at my mom's. Can you come get me? Your car working okay? It's not that. Can you come? Something in her tone made me think this wasn't a simple ride request. What's going on? Just come. Please. I sighed, told Bruno to hold down the fort, and drove to her mom's place about 20 minutes away. Natalia was waiting outside, and she looked rough. Red eyes, no makeup, wearing sweatpants. She got in the truck without a word. What happened? I asked as we pulled away. I went to brunch with Kirill and some people from work today. They were all talking about this party next weekend, making plans, being loud and fun and carefree. And I hated it. Hated every second of it. I didn't say anything. Just drove. Kirill's been texting me constantly, wanting to hang out, making jokes, being flirty. And I finally realized something today. What's that? He's an idiot, like a genuinely stupid person who thinks he's charming. And I was treating him like he was more interesting than you, just because he paid attention to me. Okay. That's it? Just okay? What do you want me to say, Natalia? I don't know. Something. Anything. You've been so cold lately, and I deserve it. But it's killing me. I pulled into our apartment complex and parked. Sat there with the engine off, trying to figure out how to explain what I was feeling. You asked me earlier what I want, I said finally. I want to feel like I'm with someone who chooses me, not someone who keeps me around as a safety net while looking for something better. You spent months treating me like I didn't matter, and when I stopped chasing you, suddenly I'm important again. It's not like that. Then what is it like? She took a shaky breath. I got scared. We were getting so serious, and I panicked. I thought if I proved I didn't need you, then I wouldn't be vulnerable. But all I did was push away someone who actually cared about me while surrounding myself with people who didn't give a damn. First honest thing she'd said in months. Qley texted me today asking if I wanted to come over tonight, she continued, and I realized I didn't want to. I wanted to be home with you, watching something dumb on TV with Bruno hogging the couch. I wanted boring and stable and normal. Boring and stable, I repeated. I didn't mean it like an insult. I mean I wanted something real instead of this fake, exhausting thing I've been doing. We sat in silence for a minute. I can't go back to how it was, I said finally. I can't go back to being the only one who gives a damn about this relationship. I know. And I can't just flip a switch and trust you again. You hurt me, Natalia. You made me feel like I was crazy for wanting basic communication and respect. I know. I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry. Sorry is a start, but it's going to take more than that. What can I do? Show up. Actually show up. Not just physically, but emotionally. Be present. Communicate. Treat me like someone you want to be with, not someone you're stuck with. She nodded, wiping her eyes. I can do that. And Qley needs to be out of the picture. Completely. Already blocked him. The parties in our apartment? Never again. You want to have people over, we discuss it first. Both of us agree. Okay. And Bruno doesn't get locked in the bedroom. Ever. That was awful. I felt terrible the whole night. We went inside. Bruno greeted us enthusiastically, like we'd been gone for weeks instead of 30 minutes. Natalia knelt down and let him lick her face, apologizing to him.